Hi, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my BookTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing my January 2019 wrap-up. I have attempted to film this video 3 times now. The first book I read in January was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I went into it not knowing anything really, except for that it's fairly brutal, and it definitely is. I won't be giving a synopsis because I think a synopsis could kind of not ruin the enjoyment, but it would have spoiled me for things that I didn't see coming. I did enjoy this book. I loved the plot. I love the characters. I don't want to say I enjoyed the brutality, but it was very refreshing to see it on page, because this is an adult fantasy. You don't get a lot of that with YA. The next book I read in January was Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is the second book in the Red Queen series. I read Red Queen years ago. I want to say close to about 4 years ago now. Go me. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I didn't think that it was generic. I didn't see the plot twist coming. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars as well. I didn't enjoy the plot of this as much as I did Red Queen. This felt very much like a filler book, and that a lot will happen in King's Cage, which is the 3rd book. The next book I read was This Song Will Save Your Life by Layla Sales. I gave this, is it 4.5 or 5? I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This was just really enjoyable. There's only one part I didn't like, which was the romance. It was a little... So I would probably give it actually closer to a 4.75 stars. Just because of that weird romance going on in this. But otherwise, I very much enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the character development. I thought it was really good, and I actually recommended this to my best friend, and he loved it. The next book I read was The Blood of Olympus, yes, by Rick Riordan. This is the last book in the Heroes of Olympus series. My heart. So the Heroes of Olympus series is a sequel series to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. This is the 5th and final book in that series. Not the end of the universe though, because all of his books are interconnected. I am happy to say that I did enjoy this a lot more than most people did, and that I did actually enjoy the ending. I didn't think it was that much of a cop-out, but I wish some stuff had been not explained, but I wish some stuff had been revealed to other characters. But yes, I did very much enjoy this. The next book I read was Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is now one of my favorite books of all time. I am super excited to read Arch Enemies, which is right here. And of course, it's been 3 months later. But I have always loved superhero books, and getting the perspective from a villain was very refreshing and very interesting. And this book was just phenomenal. The writing is great. Marissa Meyer is a new favorite. I have never read any of her other books, but if all of her writing's like this, like, yeah, she's a new favorite. I do love the plot. I love undercover agents. I think it's really interesting, them playing actors. I also, again, I'm just a sucker for superheroes, so. The next book I read was The One by Kiera Cass, and this is the final book in the first trilogy for the Selection series. I'm not going to continue on. It was fun, it was cute. The ending wasn't fantastic, which is why I got a 4 out of 5 stars, because I did still enjoy the rest of it. The ending, it was just there. But yeah, I will not be continuing on. I'm keeping it as a trilogy. I don't need to go on to all the other ones whatsoever. The next book is Sleeping Freshmen Never Lie by David Lubar. It was good. It was a 3.5 star book. It follows a character throughout their entire freshman year, and it was interesting to see how his choices played out, but his motivations were a little questionable. It was for a girl, but his character development was good, and it was enjoyable for the most part. The next book I read in January was 7 Ways We Lie by Riley Redgate, which was also a new favorite book of all time. I enjoyed the multi-perspectives. I enjoyed the diversity in race and sexuality. That was great. The plot, I definitely love a good not exactly a whodunit, but who is it? Because there's this mystery of a student-teacher affair, and you catch on fairly quickly who the student is, but you have no idea who the teacher is until toward the end, which it was a pretty interesting reveal. And there is just a lot of, oh my god, Robin. Riley Redgate is another new favorite author of all time. Just based on this book, if her other books, which I've also heard are fantastic, or anything even close to this, I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm excited. And the next book I read in January was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I'm going to kill my cat. The next book I read in January was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, which I ended up giving, I put 3 stars, but I think it's more like a 2.5. It wasn't compelling. It wasn't fantastic. It was okay. The main character was kind of bland. She was an unreliable narrator because she's an alcoholic, which didn't actually end up, her alcoholism and being an unreliable narrator didn't really come into anything. It was just, yes, this is how it is. And the reveal wasn't great. It was very lackluster. The next book I read was Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. Now this thriller was good. I gave it a 4.5 stars. This was a whodunit. It's a cold start. So you start off knowing someone dies. You don't know who, you don't know why, and that's what you're trying to figure out. And oh my gosh. So it follows 3 moms with 3 kids in kindergarten and their big little lies. And it follows them. It follows these moms And at the end of every chapter, you get a brief little kind of comment from the other parents the night that the person is killed, and it all just kind of goes together, which was great. I enjoyed the reveal. I enjoyed the who done it, why done it. It was great. The next thing I read was It Starts Like This by Shelby Lee, and it's a poetry collection. I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the flow. The flow of the poetry. It felt very chronological. It was the beginning of the relationship and then kind of how that relationship devolved and ended and how the author coped with it. And I really enjoyed that instead of just little snippets of life. It was really nice. The last book I read in January was Starry Eyes by Jenn Bennett. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it as much as Alex Approximately. Nothing felt like it would actually happen in Starry Eyes. It was very unbelievable, with friends leaving friends in the woods and then other friends not telling parents what happened, and then 2 kids are just missing for, what is it, like 4 or 5 days in the middle of the woods. The more I think about it, the lower my rating should really be. I'm so sad because I loved Alex Approximately so much. It actually brought me out of a reading slump, and then I read this book, which almost put me into a reading slump. It's the worst and best of both worlds. But I'm still excited to read Serious Moonlight by Jenn Bennett, which comes out today. It came out today. Oh, damn. That was my January wrap-up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.